Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a marvelous day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. And I just want to say to foundational Black Americans who are my people, that you're not on the wrong track to take a stand for your respect. You have to start with self respect, and then you have to let people know where the line is. I can't decide where a person who is young enough to be my daughter or granddaughter or son or grandson draws the line. You have to make that decision. But I do know that you have to respect yourself first, and then you have to draw the line with how you deal with other people. Now, we know the issues that we have with white Americans. We don't need any immigrant from anywhere in the world to come to the United States to itemize our problems with white Americans. We know what our problems are with white Americans better than anybody, and we know what we have to do to deal with those problems. So when a black immigrant tries to insert him or herself into the black American, white American issue, it's insulting because that's for us to deal with. Your problem is back home. If you're so smart and you know how to settle conflict, then you need to go home and settle your conflict there. You're more needed there than you are here. We are where we are because we have been here with white Americans. Some of it good, some of it not so good. We don't need an African immigrant or a Caribbean immigrant to tell us that we need to get over slavery when they fled their homeland to come here. They don't know what it took to get this country to the point where they can flee their homeland, come here and nest under us and then talk shit and then start running their mouth. I have a real problem with that. When it comes to African immigrants, a lot of it is coming from West Africans. They seem to think that they have a case to be made for who they are in America, and they don't. Sometimes you need to just sit down and shut up, like the old people used to tell us in church. Sit down and shut up. But occasionally, Africans do get it. We don't hear a lot from East Africans. Now, that woman that's the CEO at Essence is accused of messing up the Essence Festival. That woman is a Kenyan immigrant, and foundational Black Americans have been dragging that woman all up and down social media. We have not heard that much from Kenyans. Kenyans are East Africans. And I don't know if they just feel disconnected to her or they're just gonna let it work itself out. And that's the best way to do it. But the East Africans don't come with as much ignorance, as much venom and vitriol as West Africans. Now, I'm going to call that. And if I'm wrong, let me know. But what I hear a lot of this popping off at the mouth, a lot of it is coming from West Africans. But this East African woman from Ethiopia popped up on my For You page on TikTok a few days ago. And she's funny, but she has a different and I think a fresh take on the situation between Black Americans and Black immigrants. And I like her because she's got the guts to bottom line the situation.
This whole foundational Black American conversation, what's the problem? I see my African brothers and sisters getting very offended by this, but I am struggling to understand why, because there is a difference. For example, our ancestors didn't build this bitch. Our ancestors weren't the ones who fought for equality for everyone in this country so that we could immigrate here. Our moms, our dads, our grandparents. Oh, not to mention a lot of those fathers and mothers and grandparents and aunties are racist as hell. Like unambiguously anti-Black, racist as all hell. My sisters and I had to beat that shit out of our Ethiopian parents with the quickness. But I can't deny that it was there. We are African Americans in the most literal way one can be. And they are Black Americans, built into the foundation of this country. So, foundational Black American, I don't understand what the problem is. How does that negatively impact us? I can't think of one time that my Ethiopian American ass has been subjugated due to a Black American calling themselves foundational. I don't get it.
Now, in an ordinary situation, I would just say that this woman is using common sense. She's right. They didn't build this. They don't know what it took for us to get to the point that we are and for them to get to the point that they are here in America. They don't know because she knows that her family and these black immigrants didn't do anything here. They were able to come here to a ready made first world country, and nobody in their families had to suffer. Nobody in their families had to lose their lives. Their communities were not flooded, were not bombed, were not shot up. They didn't have to deal with the legislators all over the United States staying up till the wee hours of the morning, figuring out ways to hold them back so they didn't prosper. They didn't have to deal with all of the atrocities that black Americans had to go through to get where we are now. And not only for ourselves, but advocated for them. They treat it like it was nothing. And really, all you have to do in return is respect black Americans. That's all they had to do. You don't have to like us. You don't have to live around us. You don't even have to speak to us. Just leave us alone. We're good. And actually, most of the non-West African immigrants will. They talk about us in their own little enclaves, in their own homes, in their own parties and get-togethers, but they don't really make a public spectacle of themselves the way the West Africans do. You didn't do anything for me. The white man wanted me to come here. So this is what we have to deal with as black Americans. But this young woman posts a lot, and I like a lot of her content. I don't want to butcher her name, but I think it's Saran or Saran or something like that. But anyway, she posted this video, and I thought it was also very thoughtful.
I've had a couple foundational Black Americans tell me, I'm not black and head back to Ethiopia, but that's not the vast majority of them. I'm pretty sure this entire movement is just about like respect and acknowledgement and respect and acknowledgement. Why are we so allergic to that? Why can't we just give these people their flowers? And foundational Black Americans aren't dividing us by acknowledging the differences in their contributions to this country, but rejecting that. Being so offended that they would come up with a term that would highlight their importance in this society where they have largely been disregarded. If you see no value in this movement and only see it as a threat to your place in society as an African immigrant, you're the reason for the divide, okay? You're the reason why we can't come together because all they want is acknowledgement. And there are a lot of racist Africans in this country. That is undeniable. Undeniable. So why is it so crazy that Black Americans would want to highlight just how important they are to this country and to our immigration status? What?
I agree wholeheartedly with what she said. I do believe that these West African immigrants, in particular, want to have the same status in America as we have. Matter of fact, I think they want to have a higher status. I recently learned that Nigeria is considered the giant of Africa. And I think therein lies the problem. They might be the giant of Africa, but they are not the giant of America or of any other country. But if they're the giant of a whole continent, I can see why they would have an attitude. But if they want to be that giant, they need to stay in Africa where they are respected because they are not respected anywhere else in the world. They are the least likable and the more deported Africans of all of the Africans. Probably of all of the other countries put together, more Nigerians are deported out of countries all over the world, from Europe, America, Asia, and even Africa. The Africans can't get along with them. So they are very hard to get along with in Africa as well as out of Africa. And I have a feeling that if you extract the Nigerians from the African immigrants, we would see a different picture of African immigrants. Because most people know that when you go into a new country, the smartest thing to do is to shut your mouth And if you go in there running your mouth, you can end up hurt, in jail, or deported. I just watched a video of Lisa Cabrera, and she gave a scathing review about them protesting this boycott that they've got coming in August. But she posted a list of the countries where Nigerians have been kicked out of. And really, I didn't even see the United States and the UAE because they just kicked the Nigerians out of the UAE a few days ago. And guess what? In Dubai, they can't even go and visit unless they're 45 years old with money in the bank that's checkable. From 18 to 45, they can't even go to Dubai for a visit. Now, that lets you know right there that people don't want you in their country. Nigerians haven't been banned from the United States yet. As of July the 8th of this year, Nigerians can only come here on a single visa and they're limited to 3 months. And the government says overstaying that visa could lead to a permanent ban. It's going to lead to a permanent ban of Nigerians before it's over because they don't know how to act in anybody's country. And instead of being called the giant of Africa, it should be called the shame of Africa. It's a shame the way they behave in other people's country. Well, anyway, y'all, shout out to this Ethiopian woman for getting it. Somebody has to get it. That is the beginning of understanding. Let me know what y'all think about this and have a good evening.